Hello. No, that's okay. I'm not there and I'm going to be virtual. Um, but I will at some point have to leave before the meeting is over. And so I will text you that, just because I don't want anyone to be trying to talk to me and then like I'm not there. So that you can tell people like he's not here anymore, he had to go. Um, yes, I'd rather talk about it there because I don't want to wait till the end because I'm not going to be there by the end. So I'm just going to say we need to do this as a board and this is going to show up in our workshop as an action item. Right, right. I'm going to explain it and explain it. It has to be a designation each month. So this will show up as a thing at our workshop and as a thing to do, but then also board. Well, I guess we won't do it at the workshop then. We'll just do it every board meeting with the compliance and that stuff. So this will be effective next month. Okay, then that's how I'll explain it. Yes, financials is a great part to do that. Then it's earning. And then we're talking about the motion to approve contract negotiation. Okay, so we're just motioning to do that. Link is fine. And everything else is just whatever, so. Anything else? Okay. Okay. Pulling it from consent to the other one or just? Okay, that's fine. I know that's fine. We're allowed to do that. Okay, perfect. And I don't need to add anything, right? The communication thing is what it is. Katie's gonna talk about that. Okay, perfect. Thanks, bye. Oh, people.
Almost.
It is, okay, nobody.
Now it is.
Now it's 6 o'clock. Yeah, no microphone, so I feel less dramatic. Oh, that's right, I can still pull it off. It's 6 o'clock. Do you know where your HOA meeting is? No, right here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of CROA, the Homeowners Association on steroids. We are gathered here to have another one of our little monthly meetings where we actually make decisions and spend your money and stuff like that. Hopefully not too much of it. And before we begin, we have to make sure of all these legal things, like, did you notify people about this?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Do we have a quorum?
Yeah.
There's Jared, everybody's here. I think it's Pledge of Allegiance time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. Make order. I usually do, and we are going to embark on owners' comments. And it looks like, James, you would like to speak, and apparently you're the only one.
Oh, cool. I could have 25.
No, it's great.
Super on 2K93, so pretty. I was at the rec committee meeting last week and I spoke about the eating rates, but I couldn't stay for the week. I didn't hear him until I saw him today, but it's gonna be back.
Well, it's a motion.
It's emotions now, correct. Ironically, when we started these meet and greets now in the village, it was a direct result of the amenities that are now opening on a timely basis. And we were also told at that time that the amenities center wouldn't open until there were enough homeowners living in Island Village to keep that thing open. So we kind of come full circle. If in fact we're saying now that these homeowners who are paying dues for that facility have to pay extra. Yeah, okay. Sure.
We can't hear you back there.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's all right. Anyway. So it's kind of come full circle where we couldn't go in and get. Our simple request for neighbors to get together 3 nights out of 365 seems in line with our community cornerstone. However, the misinformation and lies on social media that have been published over this simple request have convinced some people it's a bad idea. Some of the words in the community cornerstone reflect why we want to have these meetings. Whether in public spaces, at community events, town meetings, or simply on a neighbor's front porch, you find an unmistakable sense of community and feeling of togetherness throughout celebration. Memories and bonds of friendship that result are the glue that hold celebration together, ensuring a bright, long-lasting future. I will say this one last time. I believe that every village celebration should have the ability to gather at a growth facility 3 to 4 times a year, bring the neighborhoods together. I believe that's what this town represents. But if you feel that we have to support the rec committee, wherever it came from, wherever it was, we'll figure out another way to bring the neighbors together. Our 6 gatherings in 23 and 24 never brought a single complaint. Help on many of us in active building. We will keep that growing. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I understand there are more people who did, one people did check the box. So who else would like to speak? Come on up, Catherine. Don't you get a time later?
But this is from a homeowner perspective.
Oh, okay, this is not down there.
I am a resident.
Yeah, I knew that, I knew that.
Kathleen Scipio, 1113 Mosaic Drive. I just wanted to talk about it tonight. When my daughter was in the school system here, I was so happy the day she graduated. That was
Time warp.
because I stopped getting the remind text. Because if anybody's a parent, the remind text from the school district, you can get one a day, you can get 11 a day. However, last week, there was a text to school-aged parents through the remind system at Celebration K-8, notifying those parents that there was a lockdown. The threat was not on campus. It was in the community. So people were locked down in the school, community volunteers, parents that were taking their children to dentist appointments were told not to go outside K-8 on a campus street because there was a threat in our community. I would have known that because I don't have a school-age child. But I have a senior program at 690 Celebration Avenue, very close to campus street. So I would want that program to lock the doors to stay in place at the same time that K-8 was. I really feel that we need a community-wide alert system for all residents so that we can make decisions whether it ended up that the person was at Creation Village in the playground. So we can make a decision not to go to the library or to the dog park because we would be informed. I don't want to rely on social media to find out what's going on in the community. That's how I found out at Publix that there was a problem, but it was misinformation. It was an AK-47, which we found out later that that wasn't what it was. So I don't know what entity to talk to, if it's CROA, TTBD, Bill Law and I have had a couple conversations, but I think safety should always come first. And I would hope that we would want to be informed and then we can make a decision.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
People check the box. It's Wayne on Michelle Road, 1845, Village Way. I'm really here to create awareness by the board that we do have problems in the town meetings of Island Village. 3 years ago is when I believe it started. And it's understood by some, I'm not sure the reality of it, that there were going to be 2 pump stations for Island Village. And what I understand, there was only one that was created. With phase 2 coming on, I really don't know where we stand with an additional pump station, but we have very low water pressure. And it has gone on ever since it's been created. So the concern is, 1, pump stations. Is there another one? Will it be coming on, or is it not? The other thing is, as far as the townhomes go, now this is low water pressure throughout Island Village. I understand there's low water pressure maybe in other kinds of celebrations. But as far as the townhomes go, we have been affected last year quite a bit. With landscaping dying, sod, shrubs. This year it has been much worse. Now we've gone through a dry period, and it was 2 weeks ago we got rain. But this is not the answer to our problem. We talked to Brian, and Brian identified, I know last fall when I talked to him, he said, there may be a problem with the size of the pipes just for the townhomes. About 2 weeks ago, we did go ahead and install portion of a pipe in one of the residents' townhomes. And it appears that that has increased the pressure or the coverage. But you all had also gone ahead and approved an installation of landscaping. I don't know if it was the last meeting or the meeting before. We were told that this can't happen because we can't cover the new landscaping with the way our irrigation is for the townhomes. There's quite a bit of difference between what the homes look like in Island Village and what the townhomes look like. So I know there's going to be a meeting with the service committee. We've asked for a meeting and Rose is scheduling it. I know Jacob's aware of it. But I really need the board to understand that this not only is visually bad for the townhomes, but financially, this could be quite an imposition. And whether it is Natalie or whoever, but if we can't install landscaping right now, just to cover the last installation review, we have more problems this time, and we will need more installation of landscape.
Okay, we've come to your three. Thank you. Just to let you know, though, we're in charge of the landscaping. That is our purview. The water is not. That is the Enterprise Community Development District, whose office is over behind the library. They are 100% in charge of that. We have no say, no pull. We didn't approve the pump stations. That was approved separately by ECDD. So
irrigation, but the irrigation too is part of it, the irrigation pipes and things that matter.
some of that, yeah, some of those irrigation pipes, the reuse water, again, is ECDD. So that would be where you need to go because we have no power.
So we're saying the installation by Natalie of those pipes.
That's accepted by ECDD. They get it approved and accepted by the Enterprise Community Development District, not by CROA. CROA has no say about water.
Okay, so our HOA would have to connect.
No, your HOA can't. The residents of those townhomes would need to talk to ECDD to try to figure out what's going on there. Okay? And they have regular meetings also. But they also have an office behind the library where you can call them or go in there.
We are working to have that scheduled meeting that you just mentioned.
And then, yeah, they'll have something at your service area.
I'm also.
That's service area, King. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Going once? No, come on up, Dennis.
There were two other people on the list, so I'm sure.
Yeah, didn't have, a lot of people sign in, but they check the box if they want to speak, so I didn't know. So what do you got?
I'll speak.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Dennis Knapp. My address is 925 Grove Road. I'm here for the same reason I was here last week or last month. But I did my homework between then and now. I would have talked to you about a recommendation that you hire a professional contract manager or project manager, one or the other, to manage the projects. And I did a little homework too about history, and I understand this has come up before, and it's been the board's opinion generally that you can't afford it. So let me suggest to you that you are looking this year, going into at least $5.2 million worth of big time projects. Biggest one being the rehab of the C-51 building, which also took splash pad down in the Lakeside Park and the multi-purpose fields out on the Pacific Corridor. That's, as I see it, that's projected right now in your budget. It's about $5.2 million. I took a look at what a project manager or contract manager earns in Central Florida this year. A contract manager, well, the project manager's average salary, $98,272 a year. A contract manager, which may be more what I'm talking about, is $98,985. There's a pretty wide range depending, because sometimes those people are hired by our company, so they have some benefits on the side. But several are contracted, which means they get paid a certain amount of money. That's what they get to do the job. If you take the figures, you will see that hiring a contract manager at the average salary would entail 1.9%. In other words, less than 2% the total amount you plan to spend just on those 3 contracts. You got a couple others, just mentioned one, the landscape contract. I know there's some maintenance contracts that can also be managed by the same person. So I'm suggesting you think about whether you can afford a contract or project manager or not, because I think $98,000, $100,000 a year is essentially a rounding error in that big budget we're talking about. And I think that a manager who works for you, not for anybody else, who works for the board, who reports to the board, would save me, this community, and I live in this community, I pay my money into the CROA, I pay my benefits every 3 months, would save more money than we're willing to spend. So please give it some thought.
Thank you. And anyone else? All right, thank you. Yes, sir. Come on up.
Not sure if, my name is John Thompson,
I see you here.
and I'm not sure if this is the right way to do this. I'm fairly new in the neighborhood. And I moved here almost 2 years ago, and I live in, I think it's phase 2, East Village. And I've been trying to get a tree cut down since February.
Where's the tree? I can tell you if you're in the right place or not.
It's in between the sidewalk and my house.
You need to go to CCD, between the sidewalk and your house.
In my house. It's very few, most of the.
Are you in a
trees
service area?
Between the sidewalk and the street.
I have a question for you. Hold on, let me ask you a question. Is it in your yard?
Yes,
It's your tree.
I know, I agree.
Okay.
And I filed all this paperwork.
Yeah,
So everyone can see.
with
Probably about
us?
40 pages. I had a quotation from Brian as exquisite. I had 3 quotations done.
Yeah.
It's all been filed and we're just waiting.
Are you waiting on, are you waiting on art?
I don't know who to wait for.
That's what I'm finding out.
You can tell me.
Well, that's what I'm about to find out.
Hi, sir.
Hi, he's the art guy.
I'll look at your application for you. Just to let you know, we
I'm
have,
looking right now, go on.
I,
Well, I'm just saying, now I'm frustrated and I'm thinking to myself, exquisite, there's all this neighborhood. Hey, in February, I've been trying to get this tree cut down, and it's like.
Are we back
the
on
roots
again?
are lifting up the-
Okay, here's the thing, sir. I understand your frustration. We have a big backlog of ARC requests. And they have a limited amount of time and resources. And so you're on, he's gonna double check though and see where you are on the list and try to move you along. Here, he's the ARC chairman,
thank you.
or liaison, not sure.
Give my parts,
Okay, perfect. I got it beside you too.
my cell phone.
This guy.
So.
You got it. Thanks, sir.
Thank Jackson. Thank you. All right, moving along, we are going to ask someone to move to adopt the agenda.
I think we should do adopt it with some modifications.
Okay, adopt with modifications, second. Modifications.
Can we move A from consent agenda out of the consent agenda into the action items?
Move it.
So, yeah, the Long Meadow 95,640 out of the consent agenda into somewhere, wherever. it is.
Should we go down to,
Maybe if she wants the priority, so maybe before we appoint the committee.
yeah, okay, so you're saying move it to like F2?
Yeah, maybe that's the route. Yeah, sure.
F2, okay. Any other changes?
I have a change.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to amend, motion G to appoint 3 committee members to the communications instead of 1.
Okay. Is anybody have a problem with that? All in favor of adopting the agenda with those changes? Aye. Opposed? Motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting and the workshop.
I'll motion.
Oh, wow. Where are you coming from?
Overhead.
Really in the sky? Oh, okay, that was very confusing. Any, any discussion? Sorry. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? April financials, motion to adopt them?
Motion by me.
Second, any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to add some notes on some things that have come up. We have a very excessive past due dues in our town, and there is a recommendation from the finance committee to stop. We have the ability to stop allowing access to CROA facilities and turn off ID cards for past due accounts. And so that's the recommendation from the finance committee. We can discuss that at the workshop, and then that would turn into something that the board would need to vote on, just like we do every month with the council recommendations and the fee waiver requests and non-compliance. So we'll talk about that in the workshop, and we will also discuss if that's something we want to have be part of our monthly basis discussions.
I think that's a very reasonable request. I seem to remember back in my previous term, that's what we did.
We currently have $1.3 million in past due dues.
And most of that's from apartments, right, Jared?
700,000 of that is from apartment complexes, not the tenants, obviously, but the apartment complexes. So about half of that will be resolved, hopefully very quickly, but then this lets us resolve the other balance.
Okay, I think that's something we should discuss at the workshop. That's a great idea.
That's all I had.
Okay, any other information on the financials we need to know? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Let's do some committee and partner updates. Who's gonna go? Which committee?
I can start.
Is chomping. Jared is chomping.
Finance committee, I just gave an update of one of the big topics that was being discussed there. And so everything's moving smoothly. We're getting ready to go into budget season, so we'll all be seeing meetings and joint meetings on that coming up soon. Dog park committee is having an event, an anniversary party on June 21st, Saturday, June 21st. So please come with you and your dog and enjoy the festivities and the vendors that are happening with that.
All right. Thank you for those. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I'll go from ARC. So ARC currently has a backlog as evidenced right now. One of the biggest challenges that we're seeing is that the complexity of requests is high. The ones that are coming in. We know we talked about the major structural change for essentially a rebuild or additional structure piece. That design guideline is still being reviewed. We're trying to work through to get that pushed out. We dropped below 100 today, so I'm proud of that. We were back up well close to 200 last week, and so the committee's gotten back down to 77 current open applications that we have. There's an undercurrent of also just full landscaping revamp that's going on too. Where once again, these are taking a little bit more time for the team to review, as a lot of the applications are coming in either with new plant material that we're not as familiar with, or it's designs that aren't as common. So it's requiring a little bit of back and forth with the committee, especially with some of the newer committee members that just aren't used to some of the pieces. But everyone's up and running online. They're meeting as regular, and we're trying to crank through those as quickly as possible.
Question. And this may be a dumb question. Is there a triaging process? So that you can grab the simple, not the ones that are on the expedited, but just the simpler ones that it's like, we want to replace these 2 bushes.
Yeah, so the short answer is no. Because when they come into smart webs, the way that it works is everything gets assigned a due date. And so they kind of triage backwards from the date.
But they triage by due date.
It's just
by severity of
the issue. If folks come to a meeting, sometimes that can accelerate the process a little bit. Even if they're not on the agenda, they can request to be on the agenda. That's one way through it. But we're trying. And just as a reminder, the ARC is a group of volunteers. Same thing.
All of us are groups of volunteers.
I just like to remind you.
The line stuck right there between the volunteers and the paid people.
But the biggest thing that we will say is that we're noticing, the increase in applications that are being submitted directly through SmartWebs have gone up, which is handy.
That's good.
Because it means that everything is digital for us. It's less staff time, and it accelerates kind of the process for us.
Okay, cool. Thank you for all that. Covenants, I'm gonna be putting a little bit more attention to this committee. This is one that I've been very hands off just because by nature of what they do. I don't think they necessarily liaison budget holders. I'm gonna just check in with them a little bit more and sure we're all the same direction. There was something I know I was on social media, a few people have been cited for having shoes on their feet going to the front porch. Oh, having shoes on the porch? Yeah, so they had to memorialize the covenants violation to basically that they were cited. Remove your shoes? So it was a misinterpretation of sign guidelines.
Okay.
And so I've talked to a few people that I was talking to, but that's since been corrected. I think a lot of that's just gonna come down to training, just making sure that we're staying connected with these guys.
Yeah, I think if I can,
Yeah.
just on these, so we're all cited for things. I will state, I had to review the packet tonight. Just so everyone knows, I get written up every single time, as your board member for a covenants violation, like clockwork. The reason is because I have 2 young kids and we leave our scooter on the front porch a lot of the time when the inspector drives by. It's a scooter on the front porch. So what happens is that we get cited for it. I send an email saying, hey, here's my plan. Scooter's gone. Moved out from the front porch. My kids didn't put it away at the moment that they did. We're good to go. And everything gets disappeared. It's a pain in the butt. I get it. And I think it's a training process that we can work through.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for it, just ARC and covenants is communication. So send an email back, just let them know, even if you don't understand what it is. You don't understand what trip edge is, great. Send an email and ask, what it is. And commonly, so emails will go back in a big red circle to say, this is what we have a question about.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think, the one thing that I think we need to, and we'll talk about this at the conference meeting, I think, to the extent where it's something like that, a quick phone call or a quick courtesy email, because obviously when they generate a letter, that's whatever, like they're being posted, there's a whole administration that goes into it. So I think, just that's more keep our fingers on the pulse of the inspectors and training, just discussing with them and, we'll eventually get there. So covenants, that's anything else there? Barrier.
Comment?
Yes.
We need to take into consideration also in Europe, we leave issues, in Europe, we leave issues outside, and certain religious
Yes.
beliefs, they leave it outside. So that really needs to be taken into consideration as well.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. Let's do it. Service areas. Service areas, we scheduled the June annual meetings, correct? So there's a change to those. Now they have to operate as actual proper HOAs, and have a meeting and have forum and that whole process. And then we'll be scheduling another town hall at some point soon.
After the annual meeting, which is their Q2 meeting.
It's been quiet. We probably should check in with Navigate. With Tanner. Yeah,
I consider that he and I have had a couple of phone calls in before.
yeah, Tanner, and then maybe we check in with Debbie and Harry. But Wyatt, it's time to check in, just do a quarter of the check. So, yeah. Okay, that's it. Anybody else?
Well, the tech committee, we are working with management about policies for IT purchases, just so there's continuity. Because the community owns the equipment that's being purchased. So there's been some conversation about that. As far as mobile credentials for the phones, we've done a little bit of research and there were over 4,000 unique card swipes per month. That means about 4,000 residents are using their regular physical cards per month, 1,500 card swipes per week. So as a board, we need to decide, probably at our next workshop, have a conversation on how many licenses we're going to purchase for the mobile test and credentials. That's just something we should discuss. Thank you very much.
Special events committee.
Certainly.
We have Dolly as a chair. We discuss past events and what we can do better for the next events. We also discuss about the memorial flag ceremony that just happened Saturday. and also the Fourth of July festivities. Also the Gift of an Experience and the other new it's coming. We had one resignation that we just resigned the special events committee. About Parks and Rec. We have a new check. Jay brings the new check of Parks and Rec. Thank you. We had a discussion about Lottie. We have a lot of weeds growing over there and all trees it's looks like sick. Trying to take a look over them to have a space for parking cars and little kids can play over there as well. Tennis court, exclusive all having a back board over there so people can play. Was united by the Rec committee. We had a discussion about FPNO facility application. It was not recommended for the homeowners only. We recommend open for all the residents on Island Village within Brit. The big parade is moving fast. It was approved. Television martial arts. We're gonna use 5 days for the lakeside pool. Tennis court solution have a new group of ladies playing tennis. So they have a time on the tennis court to play, and it's also the pickleball location, but not really close the pickleball for the residents. So, but let's try to find another place to pickleball happen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes,
I'll just do communications real quick.
do come.
We have a new communications manager starting May 30th. Is that still accurate? Okay. And then the committee is going to be looking at proposals for a new website. And downtown is chair. Looking up for him tonight. And we're looking tonight also appointing 3 new members. So the committee is gone. So,
Before we move on to CDD, and I don't see any CDDers here, so we'll probably skip that one. In lieu of CDD, I did jump right past our financial person. Actually did want to add something.
Hi, everybody. Evening. My name is Ray Perez. As you might already know, I'm your new finance manager. Unfortunately, Jennifer Rowe won't be able to join us tonight, so I'm going to be walking you through the April financials. For the month of April, we ended up with a good surplus, basically in line with what we had estimated originally. We saw, consistent with what we had in March, we saw some good income when it comes to our resales and when it comes to our facility rentals. Also, in the expense side, we have some good guys. Maybe electricity. Electricity is down because we have some pool heaters in the Spring Park and Lakeside that needed to be repaired that drove the electricity cost down. We have some savings in professional services, and we also have some savings in repairs and maintenance. We did a special reclass on this month, but it's driving those numbers down to incorporate into reserve. Year to date, the similar picture is what we have for the current month. We have a surplus. We're basically in line with what we have in budget. The good guys are going to be again electricity, professional services, and compensation. Because we're short maybe 4 or 5 staff members internally, so we have some savings there. And overall, for your fund balances, in the operating side, we have currently close to $641,000 in operating. In replacement, we have $1.3 million, and in capital, we have close to $2.9 million. Question.
Nice job, Ray. We go, Ray. I have a question.
Oh, no, we moved on.
No, all right.
No, you're here.
How was the resales? Are we doing?
Yeah, Ray's tracking them and they're being processed correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have 31 this month, 9 over what we had last.
Okay. Great.
All right, thank you so much. Finally, on the reports, we have the foundation. Kathleen, this to come back up.
Thank you, Don. My name is Kathleen Cynthia. I'm the Executive Director of the Celebration Foundation. We just completed our budget for next year and our last grant cycle of our community grants for this year. We distributed $1,500 to the Adult Literacy League. We gave $1,100 to the Celebration High School cheerleading team. We gave $1,000 to Giving Florida Code 1111. That is a group that goes out on the 192 corridor and feeds specific hotels once a week. What they do a little bit differently is they not only feed them, clothe them, but they also stay and pray with them. That's what the 1111 is. We gave $1,500 to an organization called Grow Healthy Kids. They're based out of Stanford, and they provide free sneakers to any student in need, currently in Seminole County and Orange County. They gave away 15 pairs of sneakers through school staff. They actually give them a measuring stick. Every school has a measuring stick. And they deliver the shoes through the SRO officers. And that's an opportunity for the school personnel to kind of form a relationship with the students. So we're doing a pilot program with them, with Celebration K-8 School, Island Village, and Celebration High School. Last week, Celebration K-8 received 12 pairs of new sneakers, and these are brand new sneakers. I went and saw the facility. Thank you to Mike Jackson for finding them. They get Nike, Adidas. I'm going to say wrong. Hoka? That's right. Okay. But they also give 3 pairs of socks with them as well. And Celebration K-8 is getting 5 pairs of sneakers again this week. So that is it for our community grants. The next up is our Learning Without Hunger program. As you know, this week is the last week of school. And for children that rely on the free breakfast and lunch, the next 10 weeks in summer is not filled with vacations and swimming pools. It's filled with anxiety of how they're going to eat. So we're sending them home this week. Our 16 schools that we supported this year with extra food, but then we are working with the school district this year for the first time ever. And we are partnering with them with their smart bus. And that goes along the 192 corridor for the 10 weeks to register new students, make sure the fit students have what they need. So they'll be getting a $25 food restricted only gift card as long as they have a student ID number. So next month, I will be able to tell you the exact schedule, what day they're on 192 and what hotels they go to and how much they distribute. Lastly, with Celebration Lifelong Learning Program, several years ago, our Board of Trustees said, I think we need to do a lifelong junior. We need to reach out to the youth. So we are officially launching. It's called Life Launch, and it is starting this August up at Celebration High School. We are in partnership with Charles Schwab, and they have a Money Matters, Make It Count program. It will be launched with Julie Carrier in an assembly. She was on MTV in the New York Times. Students love her. So any student can come to that assembly August 19th, but then the program every month will be for juniors and seniors only. They will meet once a month. At the end of the year, they receive a certificate of completion, which they can add in their LinkedIn. It helps them with budgeting. And then they also get volunteer hours because this is a pilot program. So it's a win-win. Our concert series is turning 25 years next year in 2026. And we will have the Vienna Boys Choir returning to Corpus Christi Church Monday, February 9th. So save the date. There are 650 seats if you want to join us. And then we are turning 30 next year. And who doesn't want to feel like they're 30 again? So we have budgeted. We typically give $16,000 in scholarships annually. We are giving $31,000 scholarship to Celebration High School students to honor our anniversary. And we also have budgeted $30,000 in community grants to be given to organizations in need in the community of Celebration. Of course, we formed a committee. So if you want to volunteer, we had 394 volunteers with the foundation last year. They drove our Thriving in Place members to pick up prescriptions or doctor's appointments. They taught classes at Celebration Lifelong Learning. They planned special events. They were on our concert series. They reviewed our scholarships, so we will most certainly find something for you to do if you want to volunteer with us. But we could not do it without all of our volunteers, and we are looking forward to working together with CROA, Lexington, and Canella to celebrate 30 years together. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
LFO was great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you very much. Before we sneak out of committees, Marco mentioned that we did have a resignation of a committee member on special events, and that's Debbie Jackson. And Debbie has been on that committee for a long time, done incredible stuff, created some of the best events in town, and thank you for those very much. Great stuff. Now, moving on to the consent agenda, which now is B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I. They're landscaping and the sports fields work and the like. So I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Second,
Second.
second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now, first action item is action item A, which is a motion to approve contract negotiations with DeAngelis Diamond as construction manager for 851 rehab, with a cost not to exceed $3 million for rehabbing, and that comes to us via our MPAC committee. And Jared, I'm going to let you take that.
I will motion for approval.
All right, second, and what? You any discussion?
Do we have our guest with us, Lauren?
I see Mark for the channel share. I do not see.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you guys are.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go here.
Oh, they're outside.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's someone facing.
okay. We'll take a brief.
So I think, so to me, the question that I have is just for clarity on this, we're not approving $3 million.
No, we're approving negotiations.
We're approving to the contract portion itself. There's actually no money being approved as part of this.
You're
We're
not
not
even
signing
approving,
it.
not even approving a contract. You're approving,
Approving.
discussing contract negotiations with this company and taking the next step.
Got it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
So are
that's a
you
good
the Angeles
clarification.
Diamond people?
There we are.
Whoa, there's a whole bunch of you coming in. Did you empty out the whole office?
They could have more.
Pardon me?
Oh, it's just asking. Or plug in.
Yeah.
You guys with some share? Stand up. Yes.
Is it the same thing that's in this deck? I don't know how detailed the questions were really gonna ask. I think a lot of it's just gonna be discussion on.
Yeah, I exactly. I don't think we need the whole presentation.
Yeah. So,
Plus, I did a lot of research on you guys.
Oh, good.
I did a ton.
so just so that Jared, I'm gonna lean on you here a little bit. So just for clarity, moving back into this, the relationship that we're trying to form here is, we still have Click on board that's essentially serving as the owner's rep in this.
That's our next motion.
Yeah, that's the next motion. And then D'Angelo Steinman is specific for the construction manager portion of the agreement. And really, this is just to start to talk about the contract negotiation, get to the nitty gritty. And Jared, you guys discussed this at Impact, correct?
Yeah, let me give a recap just for the community of what transpired over the last couple of weeks. MPAG and Mark is the project champion on MPAG, Mark Matero, who is here with us. He has experience with D'Angelo Diamond, and in discussions with them, found that they had availability in their schedule to manage this project based on our timeline. This is not a large project, so getting a quality construction manager for something like this is something that would be more difficult. So on a recommendation from the committee, I reached out to all of the board members and said the recommendation is to begin contract discussions with DeAngelis Diamond, which would waive our requirement. It's a self-imposed requirement to have 3 bids. So what we're looking to do is agree unanimously that we would proceed with DeAngelis Diamond as the construction manager. So that's just for them to manage this project as a general contractor and construction manager for us. We will still have the process where it will go out to bid to subcontractors who are going to provide us pricing for the roof and electrical and everything like that. The purpose of this is because this accelerates our timeline and lets us get the building done faster. And then also, we have a checks and balances here because we have an owner's rep with Kalik who is already under contract for the design. And then we will be talking next about them as the owner's rep. So there's a third party overseeing the work by DeAngelis Diamond as the construction manager. So we do have checks and balances for this movement. The recommendation from the committee is to go ahead and engage and start this contract negotiation so we can save time and expedite the project. So that's where we got to where we are. There was, in very, very preliminary conversation, unanimous agreement by all the board to do this. And I said, and others have said, actually, I think everyone said, if we're not all in agreement, we're not doing it. But all 7 of us did agree. And so this has come to this point where we will discuss tonight and ideally move forward with contract negotiations as for a construction manager.
All right, thank you so much, Jared. So do any of you, we have any questions for these lovely folks from DeAngelis Diamond before we enter into or vote to enter into contract negotiations?
I have a question. A little bit like what Jared just said, how each of these items will be bid out. And once you get these bids back, will you then be making a recommendation on who to choose? And will that recommendation be like kind of like an overall lump sum recommendation to the board with all the items included, or do they come individually?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, one of the things as was noted, we would be bidding this out by each package, so flooring, roofing, concrete, masonry, all those. And we would endeavor to get at least 3 bids from the subcontractors in every category. We probably have 5 or more in some of them. So that we're getting competition on what will be over 85% of the cost of the project. And so we'll be managing that process. What we bring to you, and I don't know if maybe we can't put forward to it, but we would, we have what we call bid leveling sheet. We'll take each of those bids that we get, we'll level them out as on face value, we might look lower than the other. We'll get them to make sure they're thorough and comprehensive. And then we review that with you on a bid package by bid package. So we'll say, hey, we've got 5 roofing numbers, and here's our recommendation, and here's why. Most of the time, that's going to be a low bid. After it's low enough, but there might be some exceptions to that because we're saying, well, this guy's very low, but he's too low, or there's concern or missing something. And so we would go through that and ensure that to buy each scope of work, which would culminate in a guaranteed maximum price for the overall project. But you see the breakdown for all of them.
And my understanding is that one of the reasons MPAC was so excited about you guys is that you have a portfolio that is pretty extraordinary. You just real quickly to the residents, you built airports, right? You built schools, right? You've built office buildings and retail establishments and community centers and golf course, country clubs and the like. So is there any kind of major construction project that you haven't done?
Yeah, we have touched about everything. We don't do a lot of horizontal infrastructure like bridges, highways, things like that. We focus on vertical building construction and the renovation thereof. So everything you mentioned, we do.
And you're based here in Central Florida.
That's right. Our office is downtown Orlando, and all of us have worked our whole career here in Orlando. And that's true. We have about 45 team members here in the Central Florida area. And that's true of most of them. So we're local. I was actually just on today. Jose's wife grew up in Celebration for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
Well, perfect.
I said, you better not rest this life.
And again, my understanding is that Khalid, whom we have hired to do the design, works with you closely.
Yeah. So we have, we've known them for many years, whether it's with the Einstein or we've worked in other firms in the past and had engagement. So yeah, very familiar with them. And obviously working with Mark and his team, very familiar with them. Ben's leading a project with them right now in a large healthcare renovation cancer center with Orlando Health. And that's a that contract with Orlando Health, as an example, is very similar. Like about 90% of the work we do is under this type of contract arrangement, what we call seeing the risk, where you bring out the contractor and then we go bid out everything to the subcontractors. And that's used by Disney, Orlando Health, Rollins College, Advent Health. All of the major institutions use this, so it's not some foreign approach. It's very common.
Perfect. Any other questions?
Just clarify what you just said. So this is not a cost plus agreement.
Yeah, so technically it would be called a cost plus with a guaranteed maximum price.
Got it.
So we're only going to be reimbursed for the costs that are actually spent on the job. And then, but we're going to guarantee that we'll not exceed a certain amount. And then if there's any money that we don't spend, then that money has returned, to the owner. There's normally some sort of provision for there to be a split of those dollars. That way incentivizing the contractor to try to drive the price as low as they possibly can, while also the majority of the savings goes back to the client, in this case, teacher.
Got it. So from a logistical standpoint, from a community presentation standpoint, we would get the agreement from these guys, contract negotiation, the not to exceed amount essentially. That would trigger the community presentation that we would vote on all of this at the same time.
Okay. Charles. So forgive me, education. So you all are the PC and then you've got Calic and you've got Impact, you've got Grand National, some boards. So I'm trying to understand and visualize what's kind of the chain of communication and how does everyone interact with one another and who's kind of the data. So I better be for this is even right.
Yeah, that was what I'm trying to understand. Yeah, so we're very flexible at how it's arranged. So we would defer to how, as we get to know you, how you're structured. What I would assume in the instance where you have an owner's rep, like a Calic is, we would primarily be interfacing with them, both on design questions, things like that, as well as running things through them that they would then represent to you, whether you wanted to be copied on things that were corresponding with them. We would decide kind of chain of communication. We did a lot of different ways. Sometimes primarily with the architect, sometimes with the owner's representative, sometimes with the owner. So that would be like a kickoff meeting we'd have and establish those lines of communication. We're very flexible with it. The important thing to us is there's transparency so that you guys know exactly, like when we have this guaranteed maximum price, it's an open book guaranteed maximum price. So you guys are going to see how it's put together to your question earlier, and then everything's going to be transparent through that process. And whoever needs to be involved in communication, we typically do like a bi-weekly report. That every 2 weeks we'd be sending that out, not just our primary owner representative, but it could include the whole board or whoever it is, so you can kind of keep a pulse on how are things going schedule wise, budget wise, and that would help with that chain of communication. So it's not only those who are the primary is, but keeping other people abreast as well.
Okay. Any other questions? Call the question. All those in favor of the motion to approve the contract negotiation process with DeAngelis Diamond? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. All ayes. That's a unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right,
Very, very much.
Yeah.
We really want our building done.
Sounds good. Next week.
Yeah, can you get it done next week?
Right.
I'm just an end of the year kind of guy. I'm good. I'll give you till the end of the year.
We start tomorrow.
Okay, no, oh, darn. Okay, thank you all. We're on to B, the motion to approve Philippe as the owner's rep, project manager for the 851 project. Discussion? Yes,
Go ahead.
no, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve drafting renewal of the Lexan lease, same monthly rate, but in a new location. Motion? Second?
You just walk us through, so I know there was some email, or we discussed it in the workshop, but this 690 building was also on the table, right? Or no?
No, not. So foundation is using 690.
That's right, okay.
So right now we are in executive suites that are really, they can rent them on shorter terms. We did a 1-year lease. Now they have a high level of interest in leasing those suites from parties that have come around and looked at the offices that we're in. So they have the opportunity to rent them out at the true market rate. They're willing to honor what we're currently paying on an annual basis for a slightly smaller space, just in the Seminole building on the 2nd floor. It would probably be a better space for us overall, and it's recently become available. So we just
You just move across the
We
street.
just move across the street.
Any other questions?
Let's run up against the 851.
Yeah, so the timing of this, so we look at the sample agreement that we just kind of, we're gonna enter negotiations, and that's February. That they're anticipating building being ready for move in. Let's say April. What does that look like? Can we negotiate an agreement to essentially take us to that? I don't want to get into a situation where we're like having to figure out negotiating an agreement on the tail end of this rather than just doing it now.
So.
This
yeah,
runs a year, right?
So it would be minimum a year agreement, so it would be August to July. minimum.
Okay.
She still has to get that approved by, you know, her higher ups, but this just authorizes them to start the contract and everything. Because they won't incur money with the attorney writing a contract and drafting the approvals until they have stated interest from the board.
Community impact and moving over there.
Minimum, we've done this, yeah, we've done this, this is moved 4 or 5, maybe 6.
Yeah.
And this gives you up to a 5-month buffer.
Yes, this
Yeah.
gives you a buffer just.
Is there like, is there a penalty if you end the lease early?
Yes, there would, if the way it is written now, there is a penalty for ending it early, go, so I'll ask for whatever.
Okay.
All right. Any other? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion to approve engineering services for the Spring Lake Pergola project. Second. Mark made a motion, second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion to deny the Island Village Clubhouse rental as submitted with the fee waiver request as recommended by the Recreation Committee. This is a motion to deny.
I'll make the motion.
Dave makes the motion. Second.
Second.
Eric seconds. Discussion.
So in the rec committee meeting, I listened to it, so the recommendation was to deny it. But
We should change being the buyers are homeowners. And we suggest them to change for residents.
so, and the recommendation too was that if it's a homeowner and it's open to everyone, and it's a meet, then that's, we would be okay. So nothing to stop from reapplying.
And we also recommended to him to, as the application person, to help to organize or Parks and Rec the way that he wants to. But the application homeowners and the Parks and Rec.
The other is exclusionary to renters as residents.
Any other questions? Well, you made one, but you can make another one.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
since it refers directly to you, yes.
this is the Celebration Residential Owners. I will attempt, I've been talking to the apartments, and that's what you're saying, right? It's just adding the apartments in Island Village.
think-
Not all residents, all 50,000.
Can we read what the board
What the,
packet says? It says the Recreation Committee met on May 22nd to discuss the Island Village Clubhouse rental by a resident for a private gathering of Island Village owners and they accompanying waiver fee. After the discussion, the committee recommends denying the request as submitted with the fee waiver request. If the resident wishes to hold the event, they may rent the facility. The committee did request that management reinitiate the open house pop-up concept at the various amenity centers, so residents can engage with each other and utilize the amenity centers at no cost.
so that
Management
doesn't necessarily
recommends-
mean that what it sounded like it meant.
This is the motion
Is that
that we
right?
have.
It is my understanding that we denied it merely because we felt it was a private event, because it excluded all the residents of Island Village.
Okay.
So there's nothing to stop.
Nothing to stop them resubmitting it as residents of Island Village.
Absolutely not. And it could be my almost further understanding that it would be CROA sponsored, yet we more than welcome Jim's input on helping to organize it.
So how does that work? So he would then, so can we just talk through the actual process? He would go through and submit another
So
application.
he submitted another application, was open to Island Village residents. Then management would work with him on picking the date, scheduling the time, opening the facility. It wouldn't require a fee or down payment or anything. If it wants to be a private event for owners, then that would require the rental rate. We will also, as management, start doing the pop-ups in the amenity centers again, separate and apart from owners wanting to do this owner-initiated event.
So do we as a board though need to memorialize that position because we have not, that's the recommendations of the recommendation. We have not taken vote on that particular.
Correct.
Okay.
That will need to be memorialized.
For which, to what we just talked about.
To do the pop-ups.
The pop-ups, yeah. that
Not necessarily pop-ups, but the owner-initiated ones that approve.
That CROA.
Oh,
Yeah.
for feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right,
No, I got it. Okay.
all right, so any other questions, concerns, comments, opinions?
Just want to make clear now, sorry. No, we want to make it happen. Want to make it, James, want to make it for the community. Each village should be done, like you said the last meeting. Each village should do that for the residents. So if we can just change the language and over, that this become a inclusive event, not exclude the fact that the sorry, excluding the living a voice to make it inclusive. And James going to be the homeowners only. Basically. Going to make it happen for everybody. First come, first serve. You organize that with Parks and Rec. Talk about be 40 and 40 because they had 8 seats, 8 space, 8 people. So the idea to reapply with residents, events. That was it.
I'll resubmit it.
All right, sounds good. All right, all those in favor of denying just this application, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Thank you. Opposed. Okay, that's 1. 6-1. Moving on to motion to approve artificial turf at Lakeside by Top Turf. Motion, second,
Second.
discussion. All those in favor? Aye, opposed? Motion to appoint, F2 consent day, yes. Motion to approve landscape improvements on Long Meadow by Exquisite for 95,000 and change. Motion,
So move.
second,
Second.
discussion.
All right, so with the workshop, we talked about this, we talked about the need to get an independent arborist. Come out of those, so Long Meadow, this is Long Meadow, there are
Long
two trees in question. I'm gonna try and do a good job. I'm gonna do a good job explaining what we talked about in the last meeting.
Yeah, I was,
Two sweet gum trees that the recommendation from Exquisite, right, is to take those down as part of the overall landscaping over time. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So there was discussion among the board about really a couple of things. One, those particular trees, but then a larger discussion around trees altogether around celebration and some consistency around the process and getting arborist opinions. So the takeaway from that was that we were going to have an arborist look at those 2 trees and give us an opinion. We got that today. And that's a paragraph. I don't know about anyone else. Doesn't make me feel better about that decision. It makes me actually question the whole thing. I don't know about others, but I think we talked too about the fact that if those trees come down, it feels change the whole aesthetic of the lake. And I think we just want to be cautious about what we take down because we can't use it.
as one who knows nothing about trees, where are the sweet gums?
Yeah, so I went out to
The water.
yeah, where the water fountain used to be. So if we were facing the
The
ball,
drinking fountain?
yeah, drink fountain is gone.
Yeah, I knew that was not, that's not, I understand.
So if you're standing,
But I don't pay any attention to look
yeah,
at
if you're
it.
standing at the gazebo, looking at the playground, you're to the right.
Got it.
And then the 2 ones that are closest to the sidewalk there. So I went out and looked, having misread the the diagram last time, thinking they were the ones on the opposite side, that were further away from the sidewalk. These two are the ones that are closer to the sidewalk, and there's something that stuck with me after what Brian said, after I did my own Google foo on looking at tree stuff. And it gets down to the canopy, which is where it is. And I looked up at the sweet gum, which both of them are sitting there. And if you look up, you can tell that the tree canopy from the oaks, which are more desired in many cases, is not growing where the sweet gum is, because sweet gum's there, shading it out. So I think that, to me, I'm fine with removing the trees. I think it makes sense. There's some dead branches there. We have a couple of people telling us to remove them. If we don't want to remove them, then we do need to figure out how to make them happy together, which means that we would need to prune probably or adjust the canopy of the sweet gum to allow that oak to fill in, so that the oak, which in my opinion is more desirable.
Well, this is an ugly mother in the winter.
Yeah, it is. And the other piece that I think that we're gonna need to contend with is that if we want to retain the trees, then we'll likely need to relook at the sidewalk. And is this really where we want the sidewalk to stay? Because the tree's not gonna get smaller. The tree's gonna continue to grow and have roots. So, yeah, thank you, Jacob.
And so that removal is part of this.
Yes.
Part of the bid.
Part of
Yeah.
it.
I hear everything you're saying. My challenge, if the trees have to come down, fine, they have to come down. Brian was in the audience at the last meeting. He made a comment that stuck with me about an ISA certified arborist, and he said if he paid $300 to become an arborist, we want it. Right? This is a thing, paraphrasing a little bit, but that bothered me a little bit, because the point of having an independent arborist is someone to come who doesn't have a financial incentive to come in and cut the trees down, and he just kind of disregarded it, in my opinion, and basically just said, okay, $300 we listen to. So I have a little bit of a challenge with that. The other thing I have is this person communicated directly with Brian. They went directly to Brian with the. The whole point,
About that.
the whole point is to not have Brian in the process.
Why did Brian
And that's not a slight
Yeah.
of Brian.
versus plant manners? I guess that was.
Yeah.
What I was wondering too.
So basically, the arborists, we were trying to reach out to arborists, we could not get people here on site in time, so they did Brian a favor, as they worked with him in other areas before and came out and did the report. Normally, you would pay $350 for the report, it would be on letterhead, it would be a little bit more verbose. But it was a short time frame, and they were providing their opinion in the time that we asked for it.
But why are they with Brian or favor? This is the association is asking for, and this is not a slight of Brian, I'm just trying to understand. Yes.
I was gonna say, if it's not how you like it, you have the opportunity to deny it and request a full arbor report, which we can then go out and purchase the full certified report and provide that at your next meeting. Or within due time that is provided to us.
Could we? Is there any way we can continue with the project? Like start the project with everything else listed? Aside from this, until we get the full arborist report, aside from these.
There is, it would be not advisable, as these are large trees and we're talking about the landscaping this entire area, so we don't want to install and then potentially damage the landscape.
We've just seen this happen over and over with solar. And at the end of the day, again, if the tree has to come down, fine, but let's go through the right process. Let's get the right steps. Let's get the right people involved. And we've seen this happen with the playground trees. We've seen this happen with the Academy Road trees. I don't know. To me, process is just a big machine for this. And it's $350. Let's just start. And that's just my opinion. Maybe just do it the right way.
We just couldn't find one at a time.
Yeah, that was the.
And that's the other thing, why we're cramming this into the agenda. Let's, like, does this need to be done right this second? Versus, how long has it been? This is not pointing fingers, but this is just discussion.
We have it here for the board's review. If you do not like how it's presented and would like to deny it, that is at the board's purview to do. And we can then take the directive to get additional information for the board of the community, which we can do, or you can take approve it as it is, knowing the information you have.
I'm good.
I'm looking at these trees and I think they're ugly as sin. I really do. And I love oaks. I love a canopy of oaks. And that canopy, and it appears from these pictures that it looks like a canopy, really, but
Yeah.
anyway, so I think the question is, that we just call, yes.
Well, one point Brian did make was the community's concerned about trees, well, we probably should be focusing on the canopy. And Eric, you had some commentary on it. Share thoughts on that, where I think you had mentioned in the past with the assessment done.
Yeah, well, and hilariously, these sweet gum trees have old Davy tags on them. From when we originally did an assessment. I tried to find the old report from Davy on these trees, at the time, but that essentially meant that they were being monitored, by Davy at the time. I do think that we need to look at this. No one wants to cut a tree down. No one wants to cut a mature tree down. They're expensive. But we need to figure out what we want. Do we want the look of the shade and the canopy of the tree? I think the answer is yes. Does that necessarily mean that we have more trunks everywhere? Maybe not. But I think we're at the point is I would support us engaging with someone that we could find not just for this one tree project, but just permanently, where we enter into a retainer agreement with a arborist that might be tied to a landscape architect, that the arborist doesn't even cut any trees down. I don't know if these people.
Or maybe just once in a while, we hire an arborist to do
an audit
of our
a
trees.
tree audit.
But for now, we have the question, and I think we should call it. The motion is to approve it. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? I didn't hear the vote. Did you?
Aye.
Aye, okay. So, yeah, I opposed. All right,
I would note that Jared effectively abstained, so he's no longer on.
he's no longer with us. Okay, pleasure. Moving on to a motion to appoint 3 additional committee members to the communications committee. Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second? Second?
I'll second.
Second?
Sorry.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Do we have to, you have them already? Oh, I thought we were just gonna get ready to have them.
We have to read them for
All right, read the names for the record. Who's coming on?
William Pink, Andrew Dunning, and Tara Ferrer. I believe her last name is. Bill Dickey.
All right, so all those in favor of those 3 fine people? Aye. Any opposed? Better. Okay. Motion to appoint an additional member to special events. Motion. Sure. Someone?
I make a motion to vote.
Second.
I'll second.
Eric. Discussion. Who is this? Who?
We don't have the name yet.
No name. Okay, no name listed.
Daniel Cromwell.
The thing.
Oh, it's Nathaniel Cromwell.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say that before. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now we move on to appeals. Motion,
Motion.
second.
For clarity, for the record, it's motion to waive all fines and fees.
Oh, motion to waive all fines and fees. Okay. All those in favor?
Oh, wait, no.
What?
I have a discussion.
Oh,
You do?
Yeah,
All right, as long as you don't get personal.
we're appealing an appeal.
this is management bringing this back in as old business because there was an issue in the information presented. And it needs to come back from the board for a correct decision to be made.
Should you go into appeals to?
It shouldn't have gone to the appeals. They're.
It's unappealing and appeal.
Okay. Okay,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
I'm opposed.
You're opposed?
Yeah.
Got one no. Motion to approve council recommendation regarding fee waiver requests. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. CROA fee waiver requests, to approve the fee waiver requests for management.
Very good motion.
Motion,
Second.
second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Non-compliance list approval. Motion?
Great motion.
Motion. Charles, second.
Second.
Katie, all those in favor?
Aye.
Now on to, which one of you is doing the management report? Not you, apparently. You could have looked scared for a minute. It's probably shaking.
No, I.
Yeah, just sorry, John, just like final, when I said that special events, we don't have the name.
Huh?
Because Nathaniel he already sent the application during the process, the regular process for the special events will be taken, and for some reason, we lost his application. For this, I said that I didn't have the name yet. So,
Well,
we should clarify.
how's he on?
You applied.
He applied again?
Yeah.
Okay,
I just expect everybody.
so you made it official, but he
Yes.
applied it, but it's okay now.
Thank you.
We voted on it, we're good? All right, then, we're leaving. Management, questions for Jacob before whatever he is, he's gonna say.
Just a couple announcements for the community that, we've done in the past, since our last board meeting where we had these discussions. We reopened the Long Meadow Playground, reopened the Lakeside Pool, reopened the Lakeside Pool House restrooms and the Spring Point restrooms. We're still working with ProTech on the electrical for the final access of those restrooms, but they are back online and operational. And we have the preliminary engineering drawings for these splash pads. So we're moving through on those projects. We've also just received the 90% drawings for the town hall from Click. So that project is still moving.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to seeing. I love drawings.
For-
All right.
On your workshop, we're gonna probably do a moment to dive into that a little bit deeper for the community to review the plans as well as for the board. That is kind of the last opportunity before the final plans are made.
Questions?
2023, is that when we made the decision to close on the weekend? I think. I think has it?
Were you on the board?
Yeah.
Okay,
That
so
was
that
supposed
was
to say. Has there been, I know you said we would continue to watch it, has there been any reason to reopen on limited hours over the weekend?
we haven't received any communication from.
Oh, if anything, we're seeing very, our lowest level of attendance in the extended hours from 5:30 to 6 PM on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to check in. All right.
Two things. One is this update on the preliminary drawing and the 90% drawings. Right, can that be included in the Monday Matters, just like as project update?
Yeah.
Just like, basically what you just said.
Yeah.
Also, I was wondering if there's any way that the mayors could request like a monthly irrigation report from Exquisite that could also be included within our board package.
Request a light show.
Monthly irrigation.
Look into that.
Status of the bollard lights.
Bollard lights are on order to wait for them to.
Waiting on the arrival. Okay.
Anybody else? Let's move on.
Oh,
Yes.
Sign at Long Meadow. Playground rules sign. Need to be moved.
Yes.
Okay, just as long as we're all on the same.
April contract metrics. Anybody? Moving on, board comments. Anybody have any? Moving on, motion to adjourn.
It's not good.
Second? We're adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. It's late. I'm just going.